Lame on me. All right. I'm glad we got to that before we started doing business. Okay.
Oh
So,
no.
yeah. All right. Oh, and I turned that on just in time for the great crapshoot of every libertarian meeting, public comment. So, is there anybody who would like to, who's not a member of the committee, who feels like they want to weigh in on something? Is there anybody here who's not part of the committee? Not seeing any hands.
Hey,
I
Lauren,
think.
can
Yes,
I?
Mark.
So I forgot to mention that last November, Measure A, which was a sales tax increase, passed here in Santa Clara County.
Boo.
The local Libertarian Party and the Silicon Valley Taxpayers Association has sued the county to overturn that. It's a long shot, but we have found a attorney pro bono who's willing to do it. So we figure, hey, what the hell? Why not?
Hey, fantastic.
Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Also, for Bay Area libertarians, it's pretty much a done deal that Regional Measure 4 is going to come back, and that is also a 1% sales tax for transportation. Probably will be on the November ballot.
For
So,
transportation. I'm glad they have a
yeah,
nice specific item that they're going to do with that. Yeah,
right.
absolutely. The Sean has his hand up. Sean
Yeah, I was
Osborne from LA.
yeah, I was wondering the newsletter thing is it's called Be Libertarian.
Yes, that is what the one that Pat is doing is called.
Isn't there already one called Being Libertarian? Isn't that going to get confused with that?
That's like a is it a clothing outfit being libertarian? Like they sell t-shirts?
I don't know. I just see it all the time on X.
Hmm.
I
Can
just
I?
thought that might
It's a
be a bit
Oh,
of a
page. It's a
confusion.
user.
yeah,
Can,
there's kind
can,
of a meme channel on X that does that. Yeah, yeah,
can
yeah.
I sell T-shirts?
That's a really good question. That's probably is a longer conversation than a 2-minute thing in public comment.
I'm
But
sorry,
Okay,
but
that
it's a
was
good question.
yeah, I was just curious because
I
I
do
thought it
sell
might be get
T-shirts.
okay.
confused.
Well, I don't know. That
Well,
that's something that is probably worth talking about going forward.
the other
All
thing
right.
to note is that be libertarian is spelled BEE as opposed to BE.
It's a bumblebee.
Well,
Pollinating
Wow.
liberty.
yeah, and the X channel I think is Being Libertarian, BEING,
Oh,
and they do a lot of memeing and stuff like that.
okay.
All right. Anybody else in our public comment period here, or did you have something else, Sean?
No, that was it. I was just
Oh,
curious. I mean, I didn't know it was BEE, but still, I thought they kind of sounded similar. I thought it might, get people confused on what they were going for.
all right.
It
Anybody?
obviously confused me a bit.
I is it being read to you? Just out of curiosity. No,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
offense.
My
Okay.
phone has a voiceover, so it just reads things, and sometimes it butchers things. So
Ah,
yeah. So you never know what the hell. Like it calls Thanksgiving Thanks Driving, which I get a hell of a kick out of every time.
I would
Well, happy
celebrate thanks
Thanksgiving.
jiving.
Yeah,
Thanks jiving sounds pretty rad.
it
That
does.
sounds like something for a future newsletter. All right. Anything else for our public comment? All right, then let's move ahead. Let's go to Treasurer's Report. Mimi, go ahead and give us 5 minutes.
Okay, so I actually, Rebecca, I will be sending that. I got a little behind on writing that report today. Just really briefly, I'll give, by the end of the year, we actually did have a profit, although there's still some stuff that hasn't been reconciled, but we ended up with like $4,000 more because we spent less and brought in a little bit more than what we thought. Our balances today are in the CSC. We've got 11, or let me start this way. In our LPC account, we've got $92,861.23. In the CST account, we've got $11,611.40. And just so everybody knows, what's happening with that is nothing is coming into it right now, but we spend $150 every month for QuickBooks. And then the FEC has stayed the same because we're not spending that money just in case. So that's $26,014.91. We've got $57.42 in PayPal right now, which needs to be brought over into the LPC account. And all of the due sharing was done by the end of the year. Some of the counties may not have their money yet, but they should. And that's all the due sharing for the counties that I had information for that they had sent me. And I've started trying to make sure that we have all of the membership information in correctly so that we can do the dues sharing for the second half of last year per the bylaws and the operating procedures manual. So that's supposed to be from July 1st through the end of the year. And because we're supposed to do it twice a year. It wasn't being done twice a year, it was late. So that's being done. And I'm still trying to finish like getting through the backlog of the stuff that isn't done properly. Oh, two more things to add. I've reached out to our accountant, Kathy, to make sure that we're working on the FPPC and FEC reports that need to be done by the end of this month. And I paid the $50 annual fee to the Secretary of State that we have to pay. So that's done, so we won't have any problems with that. But I will send out a report after the fact. I just didn't quite get it done in time to send.
Right on. Thank you. We appreciate you riding herd on the finances because that's a dreadful task, and we appreciate you taking it on. Let's launch into convention discussion. Just a little bit of convention discussion, and we'll come back around to Credentials Committee. But a couple of things. First, as a general comment, it's worth noting that pretty much everybody gets reelected. I think the 4 officers, chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, are not up for reelection at this convention. Everyone else is.
No, I am. I mean, the treasurer is.
Okay.
I filled the vacancy.
But well, and that's an interesting comment. So we were going to want to actually elect that.
That's per the bylaws.
Okay. All right. So we're going to elect the treasurer and then everybody else. So the coordinators, all the at-larges, etc. So this is
No,
the
the
time
coordinators are a 2-year term. They're not being elected at this convention. It's only the treasurer and the 8 at-larges, plus the alternate.
And the JC.
Yes. Everything's a 2-year term. The coordinators were elected. The only thing we changed in the bylaws was that all 8 at-large are elected in the same year. So we've got.
Oh, did I misread that? Apparently I did.
Correct. Yeah. So the officers, except for the treasurer, are not up for re-election. The area coordinators are not up for re-election. The 8 at-large are up for election. The 2 alternates are up for election. The LNC rep and alternate are up for election. The JC committee is up for election.
Oh, I see how I misread that. Okay. All right. So anyway, lots of elections. So be considering that for sure. We need to have a quick conversation here about a parliamentarian. I would have preferred to use someone completely new, but unfortunately in our truncated schedule and my never having done this before, there just wasn't time for me to find that. So Jonathan Jacobs is the parliamentarian who has the most recent experience with us. He quoted me $700 a day, which is $1,400. Adding air and hotel, that probably brings it into not more than another $15. I don't know exactly what airfare is going to cost, but it'll be lodging and air. And then we'll want to comp him a platinum package for meals. So it sounds like $3,000 or less gets us JJ for the weekend. That's a hit, but it's something that we need. It's something we have to do. JJ was here last time. JJ's familiar with what we do.
Question. There are other people who are familiar with what we do. How was the decision made specifically to go with JJ?
I went with JJ because he's the most recent. So I'm just using him again.
So the decision has been made.
It's my understanding I get to just make this decision. I just need to come to you guys for expenditure.
All right.
Mimi, is that accurate?
My hand up.
Yes, go ahead, Mimi.
Yeah. So, yeah, the convention rules say that the chair selects the parliamentarian.
Okay.
However, it is an expenditure, so it has to be approved by the executive committee. I believe it may not, I'm not sure, but I do know that there is another parliamentarian that is interested who is on this meeting. So I don't know if anybody wants to hear from him or not. I'm just saying, Richard Brown is here. He was our parliamentarian for many years. So but Lauren is correct that the chair per our convention rules is who selects the parliamentarian. It's just
So,
there's the cost aspect, which is not budgeted.
so Lauren, it's a done deal, right?
What the rule says is the chair shall appoint a parliamentarian. It doesn't say anything about hiring anybody or giving him benefits or anything like that.
Well, I want to say that ouch, that's expensive, but you know, you have to support the chair if he made that decision. So if
Oh,
there's a
but
motion to be made, I would like make a motion to approve the expense.
well, I think one thing would be nice to know is there any sort of competitive bidding here? Is it the case that we do need to spend $3,000 on it? Is there somebody else who would be willing to do it for significantly less? When I've read that in the convention rules years and years ago, it never occurred to me that it had anything to do with spending money. I assumed that the standard practice would be to appoint one of our members to be parliamentarian, as many organizations do, and have them do as a volunteer. I'm not saying we have to do it that way, but I don't think you can read into this an authorization of any kind of expenditure.
Well, Joe, I think you are correct, but Lauren, I think we're running out of time, so that's why I kind of want to support Lauren in this endeavor.
Ultimately, I think that is the issue. Mimi, you
We're
have
running
your
out of
hand up.
time.
Yeah. Mimi.
Yeah, I'm just raising my hand because we don't have a parliamentarian. We've done that in the past. It worked out really poorly to have a member, and that was in 2019 when Alicia Matson was a member, who, by the way, is a professional parliamentarian. But that's beside the point. If we're going to have a parliamentarian, typically it does include a fee because none of them work for free.
Surely. You get what you pay for.
So, yeah. So, I mean, they don't.
Really.
I had wanted to, help Lauren look for somebody else. I couldn't find anybody else, except for people that were way, way, way more expensive.
Right.
Than
Well, does
JJ
my
and Richard
motion
Brown.
to approve
So-
this expense stand, or did I
So-
do it improperly? Because I don't know these Robert's Rules of Orders.
So the time crunch brings us to this point. So, Pat, it's your motion then is that we
Approve the expense
go ahead and approve the expense
and move on. And I appreciate it. I know time is so limited and so
All right.
many expenses on our time frame. You can't
It
do
is-
everything you want to do just like you want to do it. So I respect your decision, though I don't think it's perfect, but nothing is perfect.
It is not perfect. You're absolutely right, and it's not my preference, but it's where we're at.
So let's just move on.
In the interest of time, I'll second that.
Thank you.
Is there an objection to that?
I object pending debate. I would like to ask a question of fact, of history. Is this proposed expenditure in line with what we have been paying for the last, say, 5 or 10 years? Has it been? You talked about $3,000. Is that what we paid this person last year? Is that what we paid Richard Brown last time he did it? So there's two different questions as who it should be and whether it's a reasonable expenditure.
It's my understanding from JJ that he is quoting $700 a day, which is slightly lower than what he quoted last year. That's $1,400 to retain him for the weekend.
I'd like to hear from Richard.
Okay. And then that will include air and hotel, that will need to, on top of that, will need to be air and hotel. And then we'll want to comp him a platinum package for meals. So all right, is there an objection to hearing from Richard Brown? All right, Richard, give us a few minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. JJ's fee is lower than my fee has been for the last 2 or 3 years. My fee for the last 2 conventions, I believe, was right at $2,500 plus expenses. But the way we have factored in my fee when Mimi was chair and also with Adrian is that during the course of the year, and in return for serving as parliamentarian, I provided lots of services to the party, at no additional charge. Attended just about all of the executive committee meetings, was always available for phone calls from Mimi and others. There were lots of issues to deal with. You all remember it was 2 or 3 years ago. We had to change hotels at the last minute. That was a huge mess. That was many hours of parliamentary work. So even though my fee has been, I think the last 2 conventions was $2,500, $500 to $1,000 of that was for work during the year that we did not bill for. We just kind of wrapped it in to what I was being paid for the convention. This year, I have not been called on to do anything. I haven't had to work. I sent Lauren an email, and I forgot to say I was sending a CC to Mimi, but I did forward it to Mimi also. That I needed more information before I could quote a definite fee, but it would be between $1,500 and $2,000. I told Lauren in my email to him that it would not exceed $2,000. As I've looked over the time I put in it, I could make it even somewhat less. But JJ's fee is certainly reasonable. I base my fee normally for conventions on $1,000 a day, and it can go up or down a little from there. JJ is very good. He's a friend of mine. $700 a day, honestly, is very reasonable for a parliamentarian. The minimum fee I would have quoted you guys would have been $1,500, which is roughly the same thing, with air expenses, airfare, and a meals package, and maybe taxi fare. So I just wanted to say, in response to Joe Dean's questions, that for the 5 year, I've served for 5 conventions. First one was 2020, and my fee for that one might have been $1,500, and it was just for the convention alone. So the fee for JJ is reasonable. In fact, very reasonable. Probably lower than you would find from most people. But you've always paid for the convention parliamentarian, and my fee included not just serving for the convention, but serving throughout the year, just making myself available at no charge.
All right, thank you, Richard.
Does that help?
That it does.
Yes, thank you for clarifying that, because
And
since I have not been hiring parliamentarians, I had no idea whether this was real.
Yeah.
And as a note, I consider this process a substantial lesson learned, and I'll start searching for 2027 much sooner in hopes that we can find somebody closer to home and save ourselves travel money.
During public comment, I've considered stating that I would like to serve as parliamentarian, but I decided not to. I knew that Lauren had probably already made a decision on JJ, and that's fine. That's his right. The bylaws or the convention rules give the chair the right to select a parliamentarian.
Alrighty. So, any further discussion on this point? All right. Well, that being the case, let's go ahead and vote. So Joe registered an objection, so let's go ahead and vote this out. So Rebecca, would you please call through the vote?
Okay. Lauren, I will come back to you. So Pat.
Yes, I vote yes. The expense is good.
I will abstain. And Mimi.
I pass. So come back to me.
Okay, Joe.
Abstain.
Oof.
Mary Beth.
I'm sorry, I had to walk away. Can I just make sure I vote? Tell me what the vote is for.
A yes vote here authorizes the expense to retain a parliamentarian for convention. In this case, Jonathan Jacobs.
I vote yes.
All right, Brandon.
I abstain.
Terry.
Point of information. I hate to do this during a vote, but the way you just stated the question, Lauren, I don't know that was the question. But I thought that the motion was to retain JJ, not to retain a parliamentarian.
Yes, it's to retain JJ, which carries an expense. We're authorizing the expenditure, right? Yeah.
Right, but I'm just like you. Point of clarification. You said it was to retain a parliamentarian. Voting no on this motion does not mean we're not retaining a parliamentarian. It means we're not retaining a JJ.
Oh, that's fair. All right. Sorry, Rebecca, go ahead.
Okay, Terry.
I will vote yes, though I remember the days when we had a parliamentarian as our chair, Kim Goldsworthy.
Hey, June.
Abstain.
Mark.
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Tara,
Abstain.
and Francisco.
Yes.
All right, let's see. There's 8 yes. Oh, and Lauren.
There are 8 yeses right
Wait,
now.
there's also me. I passed.
Oh yeah, you passed.
And,
Mimi.
and point of information, this requires 10 votes because it's an expenditure not budgeted. So I will vote yes. And Lauren, you will have to vote.
And I will vote yes to make it the 10 then.
Okay, yes, there's 10 yes, 0 no's, 5 abstains, 0 not voting. So the motion passes.
All right. So let's move forward to, we moved some stuff around. Next on our agenda, because of moving stuff around, is RCV bills to consider endorsing. June.
I sent out an email on the discussion list with links to the specific proposals. I hope people have actually read them and we don't have to spend time on it. Basically, there are 3 bills which would facilitate the use of RCV in national elections and one which would stop them. I would like us to endorse the 3 bills that promote better democracy and oppose the bill that would block the option of states choosing voluntarily to use ranked choice voting. I believe normally states make their own decisions about how to run elections, and I think that's where it should stay. The other issue is then, okay, so we endorse it. What do we do then? Because right now, we don't have a mechanism to facilitate getting those endorsements turned into messages to our Congress critters. I doubt there's anything we could do about that now short term, except say, please contact your Congress critter. But I would like to see us develop an automated method. I don't know if that falls to IT or it falls to communications, but I would like to see something where we can just give them a link where all they have to do is put in their zip code and it would generate, it would use a preformed letter and know who their Congress critters were and send letters to all of them. So I don't know where to fit that in going forward. It's, as I said, I recognize it's too late to do now, but it's something we need to have on the horizon. Most organizations that lobby Congress do this. So we're sort of like behind in trying to create something like that. So does anyone have any questions on what they've read or want more detailed specific information on anything?
I think the technical expense of doing that would be somewhat considerable. That's rather sophisticated.
I have no idea, and I suspect that there are organizations which might lend us their apps.
Nobody lends apps. You have to pay for everything. Ask
No,
Lauren.
I mean, people who have developed their own might be willing to share with us, but I don't really know. I haven't investigated.
Beware of free stuff.
Well, yeah. I really don't know.
We could check it in.
Okay. All right. So June, so you have some bills here. Are you getting ready then to move that we endorse a specific bill?
I sent the text to the discussion list. Do you have it?
Yes, but you could have had a better summary. You had links. You didn't have summaries.
The summaries are on the links.
Yes, click the links. The summaries are there. I read them.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I mean, I don't like to spend out huge amounts of mail to people. If you followed the links, you got the 1-line descriptions, and there was an option to look at more detail. I don't know.
But you made us work.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
All right. So June. So I'm seeing here you got is this 6? These are 6 different bills?
3 positive and 1 negative.
3 positive and 1. Okay. So
except some of them there's 2 links because one is in the House and one is in the Senate, but it's the same bill, essentially.
Right. So what I'm hearing then is that you're getting ready to make a motion that, like, moving down this list, that we endorse one or more of these. Is that what's coming? Okay.
Well, I put it as the motion I wrote says do it as one fell swoop, but if you want to break it down, that's fine.
Okay, I will second her motion, even though I'm the cranky person here.
Is that okay? So So am I looking at the right email here, June?
Yeah.
Where you
I
say,
don't know what you're looking at.
okay, hang on.
It's
I'm
on
about
the
to,
discussion, it's on the
I'm,
discussion list.
I'm
I
about to
think I
describe
also
it.
sent it to the exec as well as the discussion list.
I got it
Okay.
yesterday.
So I've got here language that says the Libertarian Party of California endorses the passage of the following bills currently active in the U.S. Congress. Am I reading this correctly, June? Am I looking at the right email? Okay.
You are.
So the Libertarian Party of California endorses the passage of the following bills currently active in the U.S. Congress and encourages our members to contact their representatives to co-sponsor and vote for them. That list is H.R. 4632, the Fair Representation Act, H.R. 6589, and it's the Senate 3425 Ranked Choice Voting Act to establish the use of ranked choice voting in elections for the offices of senator and representative in Congress, and H.R. 8462 and S. 3313, the Voter Choice Voting Act. Furthermore, we urge them to contact their representative in opposition to the following bill, which would prohibit any state from choosing to use ranked choice voting, H.R. 3040, appropriately titled the Preventing Ranked Choice Corruption Act.
No, it's
Oh
inappropriately
no, that's
titled.
inappropriate because it includes corruption. Lame. The ridiculously named Preventing Ranked Choice Corruption Act. All right. So, does everybody understand what motion June is making here?
Yes.
Okay, and Pat threw a second on it already.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an objection to moving ahead with that?
I have a question. I haven't compared these things. My understanding is that the first one, the Fair Representation Act, would be establish multi-member districts
Yes.
for Congress. The other two have to do with ranked choice voting for single member districts.
Either.
Is that correct?
Either. I
What?
mean, depending on what I mean, I don't think they're that specific and they're likely to get modified along the way. Basically, our position is that we approve either. Our choice, because we support proportional representation, is always multi-district and ranked choice, and elect them all at once, depending on how many you have in the district. But we would settle for using ranked choice voting in single member districts if that's all we could get.
Okay, and that would be better than
Anything's better than what we have, let's face it.
than runoffs, basically than runoffs.
Yeah, no, but we want to get rid of runoffs.
And what is the difference between? Can you just briefly say what's the difference between HR 6589 and HR 8462, which are both?
Don't have them on my screen right now. Tell me the titles.
The
One of
Ranked
them's
Choice
called-
Voting Act versus the Voter Choice Voting Act.
Yeah.
How are they different?
Voter choice has a provision for actually spending money to allow counties to buy the equipment they would need to do ranked choice elections, because that's a monetary block in some places. So it does mean we're authorizing some government spending, but there's no other way to do it.
So they both are about ranked choice voting.
Right.
But one of them includes helping counties implement it.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Any further discussion on this piece?
The one thing I would like to mention is, since I see that Wesley's here, I would love to see a press release go out on this if we approve it.
Do you have press releases ready to go, June?
No, I don't consider it my job. My understanding, I mean, this is the wrong time to talk
Press
about
releases
this.
are everybody's job.
Well, the responsibility of the committee has never really made clear how and when they want input and in what form. Do they just want ideas? Do they want text? We need some clarification there, but that's not the time to talk about
All right.
it.
Well, we can talk about that here in a minute. Mimi.
I have offered to do press release. Yeah, I know. I've offered to do press releases if people give me what we're doing press releases about. Last time, nobody gave me authorization to do a press release, so I did an op-ed. I will write press releases, but I just need to know what they're about. So whoever wants them has to give me the pertinent information for me to write that.
Mimi, do you need anything other than what was in the material that was supplied for people to read relative to this vote? And if so, let me know.
Yeah, I'd like a synopsis, but I'm just saying I am willing to do that. I'm not on the communications and marketing committee, but I'm willing to do that. If Wesley wants to write press releases, he can as well, but I've certainly offered to do that.
It's just a little unclear to me what you mean by this, by a summary, given that each of those bills has a summary. Do you want something that ties them together, or
You know,
what do you?
I hate to interrupt here because my little conscious mind is saying, Pat, shut up. But if you feed it through ChatGPT, I can get you a press release in 5 minutes.
Which I won't trust until it's verified. I'm
That's true.
sorry.
That's why I send it to everybody to verify it, and nobody verifies it. So,
if you want to take a crack at a draft, that's great, but
all right,
I'd
I'll have
like
it
to
for
see
you
it.
tomorrow by noon.
All right, that's
Okay, then
that's
I withdraw my
No, Mimi, I don't want you to withdraw.
doing
You're
it.
still a very important cog in this wheel.
whichever way press releases happen is
All right, I
fine.
will deal with
But-
June and Mimi. I always deal with Mimi.
All right. So that, but that's beside
And
the
I
point
don't
of,
want to leave out Wesley either because I know he is important too. So Wesley, here's
okay.
you're acknowledging your importance.
Okay. All right. So the question that is before us is to endorse some of these bills and
All right.
de-endorse this one. Does everybody understand what it is that we're dealing with here now that we've had some discussion?
Yes.
All right. So is there objection to June's motion? Okay. So then without objection, the Libertarian Party of California will endorse the passage of the 5 bills that June has mentioned, and we will urge our representatives to oppose HR 3040. All right. And June and Pat and Mimi and all,
And even Wesley,
you guys,
and not even Wesley included.
Wesley
He's
and whoever wants to
important.
get involved can work on press releases for that and get
All right,
those
I'll have it
pushed
to you
out on
by
the channels.
tomorrow at noon.
By the way,
I'll send it to the 4 of you.
Okay. Something that isn't explicitly mentioned here but is relevant. I also sent out a message saying that research done by ProRep has shown that 100% of the people under 30 support ranked choice voting. Therefore, an angle to be perhaps included is, or maybe cognizant of, is that this is a way to appeal to that younger voter mass that we're trying to reach and recruit.
Citing
we're
a,
still lacking in.
citing a survey like that sounds like a great data point for a press release. So
True.
we'll let you guys continue on with that.
Younger people. Let me make a note.
Let's move it.
Somebody said we just endorsed 5 bills. I thought it was 3
Well-
bills, 2 of which had 2 different numbers because the same bill was being considered in both the House
Oh,
and the
yes.
Senate.
Yes, you're correct. You're correct.
So when we describe them, we should probably describe them as 3 things.
Fair enough.
I mean, they should each get each get a paragraph or something. There should be 3
If
paragraphs.
you notice, I put them as this and that in the description. And
I
then I
did.
gave independent links. So the motion part of it was actually to approve the joint combination where there was a House and a Senate version
Right.
as the motion.
But in the press release or a newsletter article or whatever, we shouldn't be describing the Senate and the House versions separately if they're really the same.
Fair.
And
I
given,
can't swear.
All right.
Yeah.
given that bit
Let's-
about the under 30 crowd, maybe we should have Dave be included in setting up how we send this out.
Well, distribution is a separate story.
Truly.
Right.
Is it EIN?
That can
EIN?
that can move ahead. That can move ahead separately from where we're at here. Let's move on to our next order of business. All right. That brings us to the Lapsed Member Project and RFM modeling. Dave, we are to you.
Okay. Do I have permission to share?
Feel free.
Okay. So there are 3 projects going on. A couple of comments. We need to coordinate. Joe Dean, before this meeting, had made a comment of coordinating with the local group like Santa Clara, who does its own membership stuff. I made that point a couple meetings back, also the point of we should coordinate with national. And I did reach out to Steve Dasbach, who was trying to get Perry Willis to call me because he's the brains behind the projects at the national level. So it would be very good for them to know what we're doing and for us to know what they're doing. So those are a couple of side comments. So the first piece of work is around lapsed members, and this was Mark and Paul wanting to do phone calls, and Paul has already spoken to some of it, but just to lay it out for you. We basically have 4,089 people who have lapsed. The goal that they set was, well, let's just focus on the last 5 years, the ones that are more recently lapsed, which should be 1,523. And out of that, we decided before we jump in, we would actually try to design a spreadsheet with the typical answers, but we wanted to reach out to about 5% of the people just as a test so that we can do better and have all the typical answers in pull down mode. So we divided them into younger and older based on previous work I had done, that the younger and older people have different opinions on some of the libertarian issues. We'll come back to that in just a second. We created the spreadsheet to do outbound phone calls and catalog responses and had different speaking points. So Paul, you want to cover the next page because you did that work. You've already talked about some of it.
Yeah, basically what it talks about there. I called up everybody on the list for the 46 years and older. Mark had hit up a few of those, but I did the majority. And as Dave's notes indicate there, we got I believe we got now with the conversation I had this evening, I think we got 5 renewals. Is that right, Dave?
Yeah, I haven't looked at the spreadsheet since I wrote this yesterday.
Yeah.
So there were 3
But
yesterday, maybe 4.
a lot of
But
voicemails, a few, one that said he didn't want to talk about it so he flat out just ended the conversation right there.
yeah,
And a few, go ahead.
we were counting people who hang up prematurely just as a category. So you can see the numbers there. But
Yeah.
the biggest number is voicemail, like you just said.
Yeah, so we had some bad numbers, and several didn't pick up. So I don't know if the return on the investment of time is good compared to other outreach programs, but I don't know if Dave has some input about that.
Yeah, I don't really know. Maybe Pat would have an opinion, but basically, this is just a good experiment on how well does outreach to older people using the phone work. My hunch is it would be better than the response that you'll get for younger people, but we haven't made it through the younger people list. But there are a couple people that have renewed there, and Mark had made a handful of calls off of that list already. So this is still in flight. The next steps of this kind of leads into some work that I did. Whoops, not this. We're going to jump down to here. So I want to explain what RFM modeling is, and I'll make it pretty easy for you. So typically, if you were a retailer doing marketing, you would use a variation of RFM modeling. If you don't know what that is, R stands for recency. So think of it from a store perspective if you're marketing to get people to come to Best Buy or Costco. So people who were recently in the store but haven't been there are more likely to come if they were here a month ago, not 2 years ago. So you should get a higher score for having lapsed more recently. Frequency would be over some period of time. How often did people come to the store? Do they come in weekly? Do they come in once a year? I decided instead of just counting memberships over the interval of time, I would measure duration, meaning if you joined 5 years ago and then you lapsed a couple of times, but you only lapsed for a couple months each time, that should give you a higher score than somebody who came in and lapsed and we haven't seen them at all for 4 years. That would give them a bad recency score, but it would also give them a worse frequency score compared to people that come in and out and in and out. It's complicated because we have a variety of ways that you can join for 1 year or 2 years. And lifetime members get excluded from this because they didn't lapse. And then the final thing, if you were thinking about a retail store, would be, okay, you came in once or more than once. What was the monetary value? And we have both membership fees and then we have donor fees or donor amounts. So I actually dug into the Neon database, and kudos to Mimi for helping me understand all the fields that were a little bit cryptic, and took a look. And then what you can do, if you can calculate those numbers for each individual that lapsed, is give them some kind of point. So on a 100-point scale for recency, if you were between today and 3 months ago, which would be a quarter of a year, you're going to get 100 points on a 100-point scale for you're probably the kind of person that's going to renew. You can see if you go out to 1 year, you get 80 points. If it's 10 years, you're only going to get 20 points. For the frequency, I just use the duration percent as I just explained. So if you've been a member over the period of time when we first saw you, for most of the time, you're going to get more points. So it might be that person was a member for 80% of the time, despite lapsing maybe once or more than once in the meantime, and they're lapsed right now. And then the monetary value goes all the way up to over $5,000 for some of these people. And so that will give you more points the more money that you've donated. I just for grins wrote or collected this page. So if you take on the x-axis 1 through 4,089, you can see the scores for people. And so the scores are on the left-hand side. Nobody got a 100, but you can see somebody got like a 94. So that person's our highest probability using this modeling technique for they will probably renew. What's interesting is if you just go to the people that got a 50 score or higher, that's only, and this is probably good news, 658 people. So the idea is this modeling technique helps you focus on the people, the most likely people to come back. And you can play around with the weighting. So since each of the three were 100 points, you can weight them in different ways. And I just, for the purposes of this, weighted recency at 45%, frequency or the duration time frame at 40%, and only gave a credit of 15% for the money, since that will come as an after effect, but it gives a higher score for people that had donated a lot. So at the end of the day, for this particular modeling effort, which can be the way that we do the follow-on to what Paul and Mark were doing, with discussion around what channel to use, whether phone calls are best or we use something else. But we could go after lapsed members, realizing that they aren't created equal, and we have limited resources, especially our time, to spend on re-recruiting people. So we should go after those 658 people first. Let me stop there. That was a lot of information. Is it clear, rhyme and reason of why RFM modeling is probably a good idea for us too?
I like it. So the idea here then is that Mark and Paul work on calling those 658 people.
If we want to do phone calls, I think part of the first project is how effective are the phone calls. And we could also take a look at, as we have more numbers to go through, we can try phone calls for the older people. We can try SMS messages for the younger people. We could try a two-step thing where we try SMS and then an email, or an email and an SMS. So there are variations on the channel outreach. And I think we have a lot of learning opportunity there if we lay it out as experiments.
There is no solution that works all the time. It takes every solution, everything in your toolbox.
Yep. Yep. So that's the second project. And then the third one, let's see, I reordered these slides, so I need to make sure I go to the right place.
And you made me number 3.
Well,
Thanks,
you were
Dave.
next on the agenda. That's why I reordered.
All righty. 3 is better than 0.
All right.
Okay.
So by going to this, Dave, we're moving ahead to the next point on the agenda.
Yeah, if there are no questions on the thing
Okay.
on lapsed members, so June
Saving the
always
best,
brings.
saving the best for last.
Thank you, Paul.
Any questions on what Dave has already laid out for us? All right. Okay, then let's go ahead and proceed. Now, I have a quick question before you get going. In Pat's proposal, he calls this the L2 Neon Outreach Plan. Is L2, does that mean lapsed libertarian?
No. It means registered libertarians.
I mean,
L2 is the database of registered voters, right?
Right. I know what L2 is, but
all right, my Lauren, you're scaring me.
So, okay, but in the thing that you sent, there was a something libertarian there, and I wasn't sure if that's what you meant or if you were actually talking about L2.
Okay, as I understand, the L2 database is registered voters, and we have access to registered libertarians, correct?
Yes.
Which would be about 235,000 people, right?
Okay.
Now, these are my numbers through my little monkey brain. I figure 12% have email addresses, yada, yada, yada. And a 1% response rate would be really good. So we should be able, if it works, I don't know, the best laid plans of men and mice. I'd like to see 282 people join from this email.
Okay. So that was the mail that Pat sent. As usual, I thought about it a little bit and then sent a response, and Pat and I have talked about this. So I'll show you kind of my refinement of this.
But Dave's response was like there are no email addresses in the L2 database, which
I'm gonna
makes us
talk
all
about that.
garbage.
No, it's going to change shortly.
Okay, good.
Just hang on.
I'm all ears.
Okay. So basically, if you fire up L2, it's a great tool and you can plow through and you could do what I'll call cascading attempts at finding the numbers. So you have to have in your head, how many people do we want to do outreach to? And consistent with the approach for the other project on lapsed members, I think we should test something before we blast out something to 233,000 people. So based on previous insights, you screen for the things in red. So they have to be registered as libertarians. They don't, they try to purge the list for people who move out of state. So they need to be active voter. That doesn't really mean, well, it means that the state has tried to validate, and these are the people that they think are still legitimate. Some of them aren't, undoubtedly, and there's a lawsuit about not purging them at the county level, but we don't need to get into that. One thing that I did find is our active members actually vote at a higher rate than typical registered libertarians. So another cascaded screening function would be pick out the registered libertarians who vote 75% or more of the time in general or primary elections. We could use a lower number, but I intentionally wanted to get this number down to something manageable at the end of the day. And by that, I meant maybe 3,000 names that we try. I would like to split it by age, and the age groups, I'm going to look at some haystack data that is the biggest value add, I think, for us, because you can pull out economic and social issues, and I'll show you what I used. And typically, from previous analysis, younger people are with us on social issues, but not with us on economic issues. So if they are with us on economic issues, I think the probability of their joining the party is going to be high. That's my theory. And reverse for the older people. You would be surprised how few people who are registered libertarians who are older are for marijuana legalization. That dramatically shrinks the estimate. So I'm just applying insights from previous work. And then, of course, after you get the list, you have to screen out the party members because they're already in the party. So that would be an idea. So the goal is to whittle it down, doing the cascading for two different age groups, and then do a trial and validate the model. So that's the theory. When you do the cascading, here's what the numbers look like for the younger segments. So at the beginning, you start with 23 million voters, 233,000 registered ones. And then when you apply that voting 75% of the time, you're down to 37,000 people, which is a good thing because we need to test against a target group that's within our resources. The good news is if you divide them by age, using 45 and under as younger, they split almost exactly 50-50. So that's good. And for the younger people, I picked economic issues like if they said inflation is not corporations' fault, that indicates, to my mind, some smarts that they know the government manipulation of the money supply is good. If they don't think income inequality is a problem, that's good. If they oppose minimum wage, that's good. If they don't want to prop up Social Security with more taxes, that's good. And if they support tax cuts, that's good. So there are probably 10 or 15 of these economic side issues I could have used. I played around with it and to try to get it down towards the target number, which is 3,500. And then it turned out 9 of our current members were in the list, which is good because we should be finding some people who agree with that, our members who are in this age category and agree on all those issues. So that gives us 3,500 targets. And then the question is, can we email them or can we do cell phones? And I skipped a comment on the previous page, so let me go back there. The glitch was Pat wanted to email them. I think we should do some combination of both. Lauren was talking to L2 yesterday, and I talked to him, and he wrote them a note. And for some reason, I think they just turned off our access to the emails. And that was supposed to happen later today, right, Lauren? I looked at about 4:45 and they still had not. But I think, Pat, I will have an answer to your question
Okay.
of how many of them have emails shortly.
Okay, that's important.
I heard back from them in the late morning, so I'll bump them again tomorrow if it's still not working.
Okay. So on the cell phones, if we wanted to do outreach to younger people with cell
Real quick
phones,
though, Dave, I'm sorry. Let me just interrupt real fast. Mimi says she has a thought about the email part, and since we were talking about that right here, Mimi,
okay.
what is your question?
It's not a question, it's just so I also heard that for whatever reason, somehow we lost access to emails. We always had that. I don't know what happened. Paul got back to me as well about us having that again. But what I was going to say about the emails is if we're going to do that, we tried reaching out to, I believe I don't know the numbers, but there was, like 50,000 people that we had email addresses for in L2. And we tried in various different ways in the past to send emails out to them. And that totally messed with our deliverability because it was considered spam. So if we're going to do that, we need to be very, very cognizant that we do it, with targeting stuff like Dave is talking about, because that messed up our deliverability for a very long time because we tried to do too much at once. So I just wanted to mention that because we've done that in the past, and it was something that didn't work the way we did it with too many. So.
Mimi, what platform were you using?
At that time, we were using SendGrid, which we had been completely whitelisted and we were doing really good with our deliverability until we did that, and we were using SendGrid. It might be something different, and I don't want to argue this. I'm putting out there that if we're going to do it, I think that we should try to do smaller batches at a time, and that's just my opinion. And I didn't do this to have a back and forth, so thank you, Lauren, for letting me speak.
No, Mimi, you bring up a very good point. I would say test 1,000 and see if we have a problem. Neon is more forgiving of this than MailChimp is totally hostile to it. Send out 1,000 on Neon and see if it works.
Right.
If it doesn't, we have a problem. Let's go with Plan B.
Yeah.
All right. So carry on, Dave.
Almost done. So for the older segment, which was roughly 15% of them, you can start reading here, 18,000 of them. I picked 5 social issues. They're a little bit duplicative, but it got the numbers down about right. So one of them was on schools, charter schools, and school choice. Those 2 have roughly the same answers, so it didn't really matter which one I used. And ditto for opposing Obamacare and opposing Medicare for all. And then I tried medical marijuana, but the number shrunk to like 800. So I got rid of that one and I went with opposing gun control, figuring that's a typical issue. And that dropped us down cascading to 4,400 people. There were 21 existing party members in there. So we end up with 4,379, 3,120 have cell phones. Same question about if they're on do not call. That would be extra work to go find that, but very easy. And then we will find as soon as we get the email access back how many of them we can mail. So that's the work on doing the segmentation for all of these projects. So hopefully you now understand what we can do to finish off the lapsed member outreach to people coupled with going after new members.
Well, Dave, can I ask you the big question? What's to prevent you from downloading the data, except Lauren doesn't know we have it? So it would be nice to have 1,000 each from the under group and the old people like me.
Yeah, I have them all on my laptop. I can cut it down for what's needed for an email program or for the outreach. I know there's a discussion around privacy, and I had to smile when I saw all that because that was part of my original input to this committee around we should probably have a discussion on all these topics so it's crystal clear who has access to what, when, and for what purpose. So
I think that's a totally different subject. I think we can do a test email of 1,000 on younger, 1,000 on older. I can write the emails, and I think it's kind of good. I'll do 2 different emails, one for younger, one for older, because they have different viewpoints. And I will send it to the exec com to get permission, although nobody replies to me. And then, we're one step closer to actually sending it out and soliciting memberships.
Yeah, 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 I agree.
All right.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
so that
So,
was your 15 minutes on analytic stuff.
Thank you.
all
Well
righty.
done.
And that leads us into Pat's got motion language here. So, and in the interest of acts of being crystal clear about who's got access to what data, that Pat's got that spelled out in his email here. I have a question for you, Pat.
Okay, I think you should have some dun 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 music.
In your point number 4, scope of data requested,
Oh,
you have down here explicit exclusions, no demographic enrichment. What does that mean?
I have
And
no idea what you're talking about. I only had 3 points.
this
Yeah,
is
I saw that too.
yeah. There's
Uh-oh.
this XCOM proposal packet. It's like 7,
There have
8,
been so
9,
many of
10
them.
points long.
Is this the committee referral? I mean, I think we need to change the committee, but that we can't do it right now.
Okay, but no, this is the email that you wrote, Pat.
Well, I know, but I did so many, and one was on committee changing the committee membership, and Mimi's
No,
correctly pointed out that you can't do it right now.
this is the XCOM proposal packet for exactly what Dave just laid out.
All
So,
right.
so I'm looking at this, and you've got 8 or 9 points here, and your point number 4 says scope of data requested, because that really is the thing that we need to be voting on, is just to be able to give access to data
Uh-oh, I
here.
don't have notes on that.
So
All right, so what is it?
I have point number 4, scope of data requested. There is a bullet point here that says no demographic enrichment,
No, that's true.
but I don't know what demographic enrichment is.
I don't either.
Dave, is demographic enrichment everything that you're doing,
Is this
creating
for
your
the-
cascade of people to receive this stuff? Okay,
Well,
so
no,
if we,
actually-
what are we talking about? The Be Libertarian or the list to
The
register libertarians?
L2,
I
the
am-
L2.
this is
Oh,
an email that you
All
sent,
right,
Pat,
I'm on the wrong subject.
subject heading L2
All right.
compliant outreach to registered libertarian voters.
I'm on the wrong page. Not an unusual occurrence.
All right, so I'm looking specifically at point number 4 in that email that you sent.
All right.
And it looks like before we vote on this, we need to drop the bullet point that says no demographic enrichment, because clearly there's going to be a significant load of demographic enrichment
Oh, okay,
happening.
I understand now. Okay, I get it. Yes, Dave added all that because that's what he does. He's a statistician. So okay, so I
Can
thought
we
of it as
share this on the screen, please?
that would be
'Cause I-
handy. Yes, thank you, Mimi.
Yes. Can
I
somebody
don't-
share that
how
on
can
the
I share
screen?
it?
Well, it is kind of
Dave-
simple anyway. What I envision and what Dave envisioned is kind of different.
I've got a ton of windows open. Does somebody have this that they can share?
I
No,
will share it.
thank you,
So,
Rebecca.
so the message that I think we're talking about has a whole bunch of things about the plan, but then it has a motion, a proposed motion. The motion does not say anything about no demographic enrichment or any of the
All
other things. It's just a motion to do this project using certain kinds of
Okay, I can
Right.
explain it now. I know what's going on. The
Okay.
brain has arrived.
All right, explain your motion to us, Pat.
Well, my motion, what I originally envisioned was emailing registered libertarians where we have their email address. So I send this to Dave, and him being the statistician brings in all these other statistics. So he kind of complicated the matter, and I want to say complicated in a good sense. He made it more sophisticated. So yay, Dave. So maybe we should kind of put this on hold and pull the data first and then compile the emails, and I can have everything in a solid form that everybody can see who we're emailing and what we're emailing, and it won't be a mystery.
Okay.
That is
It is
kind of what I was going for, because we don't have enough information at this point. So
No,
I
we
don't
don't.
think there's a
All right.
motion.
And
No.
it is certainly within Dave's purview on the membership
Yeah.
committee to just be pulling this stuff.
And if we're doing
together.
samples to make sure they can pass through Neon, because Mimi had a bad experience, which is like something I worried about but dare not mention, I think it's a good idea. So thank you, Mimi, for bringing that up.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that there is no action item motion tonight.
No, but I will
Just
do
to-
it. Dave and I will do it. We'll have it for you, and I will send you all the memo out, and I will forget about it, but the next time of the next
All right.
meeting.
That said, well, the next meeting is going to be our post-convention first executive committee meeting.
Oh my goodness.
So, which is actually kind of rad because it means that whoever the new committee is, probably most of us again, will be able to vote on it directly and in person in order
God
to
help them.
authorize that. And going forward, then we'll be able to authorize these things clearly and explicitly,
Okay.
and not quite as Wild Westy as the last 6 or 7 months have been. I know that
Stability.
will help Dave sleep better at night and reduce the amount of Maalox that he
Oh,
consumes on a
he
regular
lives
basis.
for this.
So, all right. So that being so, let's move to committee reports. So, I have here first the Whitcom. I have state of the website reboot, but that's just my note. So, Mimi, would you like to talk about the website committee?
Sure. So I sent that out, and again, we're going to go into the other part after that, but give me a second, because I thought that there was another committee report before mine. That's my bad. I'm being bad. 2 seconds to open that. So, oops. I'm being a bad person now.
Mimi, don't say that.
Well, I'm trying to keep
Be
things
positive.
moving,
There's a lot of pressure on all of us.
It's an all-volunteer organization.
Don't speak negatively of yourself. Yes, truly. And you're doing a great job. I would hate to be treasurer. I would be the worst treasurer in the world. So I appreciate your work.
Interesting. So, okay, so I sent out a report. I know that I didn't send it out soon enough, but I put together a bunch of stuff. I just wanted to kind of, hold on a second. Mark, can you stop doing that, please, with the crinkling? Because I'm speaking. Thank you. So the website front page, we had some issues with that. I guess let me ask you, has anybody looked at this?
I've looked at every
that
page.
I sent out earlier. Okay.
It looks good, Mimi. You did good work.
I'm not asking for good work. I'm just
no. It looks great.
So the first is about the website front page content governance and restoration. And that was about the fact that we've had some issues with the front page. We've got a lot of issues with the back page. And one of the things that happened is that because the front page got changed, we reverted back to a kind of version of what it was before our last convention. And there had been an issue with the blurb at the top, which is what it used to be. Right now, the website committee IT is voting on whether or not we change that to what we just recently did for the SOS. We haven't come to a conclusion on that. I don't think it's that important. The immediate website functionality and compliance, that is, all about not just the front page issues, but also about what we're doing. And that has a lot to do with what's going on with the Be Libertarian and the way that we're doing cookie consent, the way that we're doing opt-ins, the way that we're doing privacy matters. So we're working on that. Compliance concerns regarding use of membership data. That is a part that is part of the next part, which is the Be Libertarian. And I gave an overview of what AI said on that. I have some ideas about that, but we can get that there. Implementation, and then just we have actually, I was able to get into Grasshopper, thank you, Lauren, and set up people being able to act phone calls. I'm still working on people being able to text. That's a long process. And then this last part is the coordination and next step planning. That is about Nation Builder. And so we haven't actually started the testing for Nation Builder. When I had my original consultation meeting with Maria, because of the immediacy of having to do the website for the convention and other things, it was really felt that what we needed to do was fix the website first, have something clonable to put into Nation Builder. But this committee has decided that we really do need to start doing that testing. So we're going to start doing that. I'm going to reach out to TJ to do that. And that's that report. And I'm sorry, I was kind of scattered, but is there any questions? There might be.
There, I have a question, but I'll be quick. I submitted you a blog post. I kind of think that one person is handling the website updates, which makes sense because otherwise you have too many fingers in the pie and things get messed up. Did I do it correctly?
Well, yeah, you sent me the thing. You sent it in 2 different ways. I will send that to Maria. You sent that during one of my workday days.
I know.
I actually work full time.
Some of you
So
have
no,
jobs,
it
I
hasn't been
understand.
dealt with yet.
But did I do it correctly? Because there needs to be a procedure. I mean, in the blog post, I mean, you don't want me to go in there because I mean the blog post page is a little weird. So I could have like screwed it all up. So I think sending it to Maria, if you're paying her $450 a month, she can do it.
Currently, we're not paying her $450 a month because we haven't approved that.
Oh, I thought we
Just to
did.
be clear.
Okay.
No, we have not, because the CSC, and that's actually part of what is in that report, is that we have not approved that. We've approved phase 1. But yes, Maria right now is her. One of the things that I sent was attached what her updated scope is. Everybody approved the scope of her original scope.
Okay.
Once we get this going, I think that that's the way that's going to be doing it. But you sent it to me. I will send it to her, but that wasn't
Okay.
part of her scope. She's actually been doing a lot of this.
All right.
We will get that posted, but that's
Thank
not
you.
how it's. And that's
All right.
that's that other committee thing. So I don't think that's part of the XCOM discussion.
Which other
on
committee?
this. The website IT committee, the one that's
Oh.
actually dealing with that.
I thought that's what we were on. All right.
No, right now we're on the executive committee with my report about that. So
I'm sorry. It does get
It's okay.
confusing and like, you know, I get confused too. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Alrighty. Okay, so so we're moving ahead to the Be Libertarian newsletter item.
Okay.
Pat sent out a summary of this, of the kind of what was going on, and laid out some ideas and some options there. Joe responded to that.
Thank you, Joe.
Let me see if I can find it now.
So much stuff.
But here we go. All right. So we're talking about, there is an email here with the subject heading Be Libertarian that starts in big bold, where we are and our practical options. So if you're digging around for that in your email, that's where we're at.
I remember that one.
That's the content of Pat remembers that one. All right. So looks like there are some options here for how to deal with the Be Libertarian.
Sure.
With regard to its relationship on or off the CMC, and whether we call it official or not, and how much data should be allowed to use, and to what purpose.
Sure.
So, Pat, do you want to go ahead and summarize these points for us?
Sure. I understand the objection that I was using financial information because I put the person's first name and last name and their membership status. So it's like you're a life member, you're a regular member, or whatever. Actually, the one that goes out tomorrow just says you're a member. It doesn't give the status, except a few people are like donation or have weird things. Neon is not very consistent. So I cleaned it up a bit. I understand the objection. I appreciate the objection. And I think that the objection is valid. So if you wanted to keep it as unofficial, that's fine with me. Now, the one thing I couldn't do is vice chair at ca.lp.org could not be authenticated, which means the first time I moved to MailChimp, I got a 3% delivery. Let me tell you, I'm spending $200 a month on MailChimp for this purpose, and I don't want a 3% delivery. So I made editor at BeLibertarian.com, authenticated that website, and there is a website there, and I think I'm getting about a 10%, but MailChimp is mad at me. I spent a lot of time today cleaning up the email list because there's like 10,000 addresses on MailChimp that from the old list, there's 4,000 in Neon. And so I sent it to Public List Cleaner. And on Neon, it's also very confusing. I sent Mimi a text. It's like there's an opt out and I think and no email fields. If there was any doubt, they're off the email list. So it's a very clean list. So you can stay with how it is, but it's a cleaner list, and it just says you are a member. Thank you, or you are not a member. Please join. That's how it is. If you want to make it official and not be quasi-official or unofficial, that's fine too, or you can drop the whole thing. And maybe we should talk to Wesley because I'm sure he has feelings, and if you want to let him into the room, we shouldn't, you know, I think his 2 cents are worth hearing.
Wesley, you're the chair of the communications committee. Does anyone have an objection to hearing from Wes Martin? He may not be quite ready to say anything about that. He may not have been expecting us to go to him. But while we're waiting on Wesley, though, Joe, I know that you had some response.
Okay, so I hope people read my comment, but the gist of it is that Pat outlined two possible options. One is to fully recognize his project as a second newsletter. The other is to continue calling it unofficial, but make various approvals of he can use this information in this way, he has to do this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And then the third thing I pointed out is another possibility is he just doesn't do it at all. And I think he understands that too.
Yeah, truly.
And I think that's the basic choice we have to make here. I don't think that I think that option number one, making it official, is the simplest and cleanest and the best option, assuming we want him to do it at all. He is in fact the vice chair. He is in fact promoting the party and trying to recruit memberships. He's using party data to do that. He's using if we want him to do that, why wouldn't we want it to be official? The only reason, as I see it, he declared it unofficial was because he had this conflict of visions with Wesley about what kind of newsletter it should be, or possibly even whether there could be two newsletters. And I think there's absolutely no reason we can't have two newsletters. We've had multiple newsletters in the past serving different purposes, different styles. We've done it, the LPC. The National Party has done it. I don't think that part is such a big deal. So if we wanted to do it at all, I think it greatly simplifies all the other issues if we just declare it to be official. Then the question is, why would we have two newsletters unless if they're both newsletters and there's no difference? I think there we should hear from Wesley. What is his vision for the Beacon, and what is Pat's vision for the B, and or whatever, the B for Be Libertarian. And if they are serving different purposes and reaching out to people in different ways, if they're both doing a good job, I think that's a good thing. I'd much rather have two newsletters than no newsletter, which is what we had before.
Thank you.
All right, Mimi, your hand is up.
Yes, I think there's another option actually, which I've put forward several times, which is that as the vice chair, Pat can put out his own newsletter as long as he makes it clear that he's the author of that, and it can be called the Be Libertarian. And I think this is the easiest option, possibly, because as vice chair, he has the ability to have information about membership. So I think that that's another option. We stop with on the newsletter, it says this is an unofficial thing, because on Be Libertarian, to be clear, right now it says this is unofficial. This is not something that is associated really with the LPC. And it also brings the issue of the way that the membership information has been shared, because just let's be really clear, nobody in the LPC database opted into Be Libertarian as a separate entity.
That is
so
true.
I think that is another opportunity of doing it, that it comes from the vice chair. We could still do it with Be Libertarian so long as it's very clear that Be Libertarian is the vice chair, or we could do it through Neon, which, by the way, now that we've finally fixed the other problem and I've got a good working relationship with National, I was able to verify convention at ca.lp.org to put out the email I put out. We can do the same for vice chair. So that's just another option that I wanted to throw out there.
All right, but because we
I have
couldn't
a question
authenticate.
I have a question for Mimi. How is that different than what I'm advocating? How is
You didn't give an option of it being very clear that Be Libertarian was the vice chair, as far as I heard you, and maybe
No, but I
misheard
mean,
you.
it's just a different format. To me, that just sounds like a different format of newsletter. It's the vice chair's newsletter. Or I mean, it doesn't even have to be called a newsletter. It can be called the vice chair's letter. But
Okay.
do you agree with the concept that it should be part of an official party function done by an official party person identified as a party person, and therefore, and that
No,
would eliminate the question of access and approval and all of that?
no, actually it doesn't. So I want to just look at the LNC, because you asked me this question directly. Right now, the LNC, Paul Dar, who is the vice chair of the LNC, he sends out a newsletter that's from the vice chair. It's not a quote unquote official LNC newsletter, it's the vice chair's newsletter. I think that is a distinction with a difference. And so, yeah, I wasn't saying that it was the same as what you had. I have it as a separate option. I'm not saying we should do one or the other or any or none. It's just a different option.
Okay, I'm not sure I see the difference except for sort of the
No.
branding. But in terms of legality and access and stuff, it seems to be the same thing.
Well, can you use merge tags in Neon? I don't think you can.
Can you use what?
Merge tags. So it's, I mean, so I want to say, dear Joe Dean, you are a member of the Libertarian Party. Thank you for your support. Or, dear Joe Dean, you're not a member. Could you go here and join? Click here. So I don't know if you can do that. It's not as powerful a platform. Plus, we were not able to authenticate it.
Why does this have anything to do with what database or email platform you use?
Because I can export the data out of Neon.
Right, but if you're doing it to make a vice chair's newsletter or a second LPC newsletter, either way, if it's an LPC thing, what does it matter whether it's in this database or that database and being sent by MailChimp versus Neon?
Because I can ask non-members to join the party in MailChimp. I don't know if I can do that in Neon. And I really want to ask people, join the party. It's like thank you for being a member, which is 10%, 90% is like, you're not a member, would you please join?
You're missing the point of my question.
All right,
why would either my proposal or Mimi's proposal prevent you from using something other than Neon to do the sending?
All right, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I kind of would prefer to use MailChimp, but I'm paying $200 a month out of my pocket to do it. So Neon is free. MailChimp is costing me $200. But I'm hoping to get members. I mean, like if the list is getting cleaned up, when I first sent out my first email on MailChimp, it was a 3% delivery rate because it wasn't authenticated. It's authenticated, and then there was too many unsubscribes. There were 64 complaints.
Right.
So,
but we can fix the authentication problem. We've heard we can fix the authentication. Or
can you really, Mimi, Scout's honor?
Or even if you can't, you could send it as LPC vice chair at BeLibertarian.com, and it would still be
okay.
If you were the LPC vice chair, it would still be a party thing.
All right, if you guys give me permission, that's fine. Just tell me what you want. I will make it work. But is 2 email newsletters, I think Wesley's going to object to that. It is a violation, or it doesn't seem to be really match the bylaws.
Right.
The bylaws don't say anything. Well, bylaws don't say anything about newsletters.
Well, the concern here is not the newsletter. The concern here is access to the data. The concern here is access to the emails, and more to the point, access to the member information that is appended to the emails.
Well, the bylaws are very clear. The Beacon is a whatever newsletter published. It's like monthly or quarterly or something.
There's no reference to any newsletters in the bylaws. Show me a reference to the newsletter in the bylaws.
I'll email it to you because that's, I hate it when someone who disagrees with me is right and I'm wrong.
Does anybody believe there's a reference to the newsletter in the bylaws?
It's maybe the ops manual.
Well, then that's very different because the ops manual we can in a flick of a finger.
That's good to know. That's really this is a very informational meeting. All right, so maybe we'll have to do that. But I mean, like, who does that? I mean, who has
this committee does that?
The execcom. I can't read Wesley's. I can't make out his word. Wesley, can you redo that, please? Type slower.
So are we going to hear from Wesley about how
He sent a message,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah,
interested
whenever
in
you
what he
guys
has to
stop
Wes,
say.
talking, I'll
Wes,
be
all
more than
right,
happy to.
all right. Let's give Wesley a minute here. Wesley,
All
go
right.
ahead.
Um, in the beginning of all this, it was really just about how many emails were getting sent out to people who didn't necessarily want emails to begin with. I brought up the point about financial information because that's a personal pet peeve of mine. And at this point, I was digging basically for any dirt that I could. But in the spirit of moving this shit forward along, you really just have to decide how many emails you want to send our membership every month. There are other ways of delivery. Just last week, Facebook has launched a new feature called channels. We can create a channel that lives on the top of our Facebook page called Be Libertarian. It can be solely edited by Pat. It can say anything it wants. You can upload media, you can upload files, you can record audio and video messages. The difference, instead of it going to your email app, it gets posted out to Facebook, Facebook Messenger, and WhatsApp. Everybody's normal messaging apps anyway. This is a brand new feature. I've been looking at it for the last 2 or 3 days. I just created an official channel for CA Libertarian or LP California for us to do like official blasts to WhatsApp and to people's text messaging apps. But we can create as many channels as we want. Pat can have one. He doesn't have to pay $200 a month for MailChimp. It appears to be the same functionality and creation as the MailChimp HTML editor, but it's in Facebook. That's at this point that's what I say. And Pat, the CMC will take you back at any time, man. As long as you're willing to put your own name on it and not ours. I'm the only one who dislikes you. Everybody else likes working with you.
so
Oh, Wesley.
Man, it wouldn't be a group of libertarians without people who disliked each other.
Thank you, Wesley. I appreciate that.
All right, Joe has his hand up.
So I
suspect
appreciate
he's going to end up
everything
with
that
questions.
that Wesley is saying. That's all good to make use of those kinds of tools. My question about that is, do we have any idea what the overlap is between people who are on Facebook and, first of all, on Facebook at all, second, on Facebook and following the LPC's channel?
It's pretty narrow.
And our membership list, because it seems to me there are a lot of people who are not on Facebook. There are a lot of people who are on principle not on Facebook. Or
we have 8,000 active emails. We have over 14,000 active members on Facebook.
Yeah, but the question is the overlap. If the idea is to reach out to the people who are members, and those people are not on Facebook, and that's what.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the intention was to bring in new membership.
Well, that's
it is. Okay, so Facebook is old people. Instagram is medium people. No, it's the 30s to 50s. And TikTok is young people.
Yeah.
Email has its own special niche. It doesn't really fit in any of those, and that's why I believe in email. But you have to be on TikTok, and I don't like Instagram and Facebook. They're three different audiences. They're three different ways of looking at things. One is, like Instagram is just pictures, and I never understood that. TikTok is video.
Instagram and Facebook are both owned by Meta. So within the Meta app, you can send stuff out, and through the channel, it goes to both Facebook and Instagram. Like you're hitting all Meta channels at once.
But they're very separate audiences.
You're right. You mentioned WhatsApp also?
Yeah, that's owned by Meta as well. So it goes to all Meta channels at once.
But Meta, that's somebody subscribes to a WhatsApp channel or something. I can't use WhatsApp to unsolicitedly send message to everybody who I have a phone number of.
I've tried. I can't get WhatsApp to work either. Except my dentist sends me an app message your appointment is. So no, I don't like WhatsApp, but I don't know because I'm old. I'm a Facebook person.
Well, let's hear from a young person. Brandon's got his hand up.
So I would say Facebook is really good if you want to send out flyers and different things. Same with Instagram for like events and whatnot, things that you want people to kind of see but not really engage too much on. X has a lot of shit talking and stuff. If you want to rage bait people and open up different avenues like that, X is a great place. Email is really good for organizing internally. If you want people to attend conventions and things like that, and people that you know you have a solid core of, email them.
Surely.
Yeah, Facebook, there is a lot more, I would say, like millennial
Old people.
and older.
Come on, say it. Old people.
TikTok has a lot more young people, but you need to be, in order to gain traction with TikTok, you need to have some entertainment going on. I also personally don't use TikTok because of the whole Chinese data mining type of stuff going on. So
Amen.
you need multiple avenues, but you need to make sure you use those avenues correctly.
Truly.
So
Plus, there's YouTube. YouTube is one of the most powerful of all.
yeah,
And I see some meetings from the Libertarian Party are now on YouTube, and actually they were entertaining. So
but
compliments to whoever did that.
but with the YouTube stuff, it needs to be kind of like podcasts where it's like a consistent
Truly.
um uh, yeah, you need consistency with it.
So there's
Elsewise people are going
no
to ignore it.
silver bullet.
No.
Nothing works all the
No,
time.
you got to use what you have correctly and use those avenues correctly. You can't just kind of like flood Facebook with everything and hope people gets it. Same with Twitter. You can't just flood Twitter or X and hope everybody gets it. There's the avenues that you need to use accordingly. And like
Okay.
X is terrible for flyers and advertisement for events. People don't care about it. It's all gossip
right.
and yeah. But anyways,
Mimi is correct. Can we bring this back to the Be Libertarian? Does it work as its own, as part of, or does it go away?
Yeah, that is the question that is before us. Really, that's the action item.
Well, thank you, Wesley, for your opinions.
What are we doing with the Be Libertarian here? Do we authorize Pat to continue to use data and carry forward, or
can I make a motion to put us all out of our misery?
Well, hold on. Joe's got his hand up before we come to you, Pat.
Okay,
Let's go to Joe.
I'm struck by the advocacy of other communications channels like Facebook and Instagram and such that we're hearing from Wesley, and compared to Pat's clear affinity for email, and combined with Wesley's concern, which I think is legitimate, about sending too much email to people who just gave us their email address and the expectation that we would use them to contact them, not necessarily every week. It's almost like we've got things backwards here. It's like we've got the guy who doesn't really think email is the right thing in charge of the email newsletter, while we've got this other guy who really loves email, and we're telling him, no, you shouldn't do email, you should do something else. Why don't we just switch the whole thing around and say Pat puts out the email newsletter and the CMC handles all the more modern things? And then we wouldn't have two different email newsletters overloading the email addresses.
Yeah, definitely keep newsletters down to a minimum. People put that in spam. I don't even read them because things come out so often. It's just like
my point is, why don't we get the guy who likes email to do the email one, and get the other guy to do the other stuff, and not have them competing with each other?
All right. Well, let's get a response to that from Wes, then we'll go to Pat.
There are 8 other people who are currently writing items and articles every month for the Beacon, and Pat really enjoys his autonomy with the Be Libertarian. So that's the only thing that I see with that, is there are people literally who have just like gotten jobs as professional writers writing articles to be in the Beacon. So by doing that, you are literally stripping that away from all of the other CMC members.
All right, I respect that.
Memberships get switched back over next month anyway. I ensure you. I have already told other people. During our meeting last month, Victor announced that he's graduated. He really wants to have more involvement in the CMC. So I fully intend to support Victor as our CMC chair come March. If Pat wants to join the CMC again under Victor and write for the Beacon, hallelujah. He could still do the Be Libertarian as the vice president thing. There's nothing saying that Pat's not invited to write articles for the Beacon. He just has to say they're authored by Pat Wright.
All right.
Well,
Mimi's got her hand up.
Okay, so yeah, I think that there's no problem with having both of those newsletters. But I think that we're just getting so far in the weeds on this. I mean, if there's no motion, it doesn't sound like there's actually contention about, Pat having his own newsletter, the Beacon still existing, all these other, platforms. So I'm just confused as to where we're at right now. I mean, is there a
Okay.
motion on the table? If there is, can we get to it? Because I mean,
Thank
All
you.
right, I'll make a motion.
we're just going it just keeps going and going. And also, my last little thing that I just want to say is, I really don't, and no offense to anybody, I don't appreciate the crosstalk. I raised my hand. I think
Oh,
that the
sorry.
fact that we've got these back and forth conversations between 2 people or 3 people in this thing is really quite annoying. So there you go.
All right. Joe, you were getting ready to make it. You got your hand up.
Yeah, I was going to make a motion to authorize the vice chair to put out a periodic email to our list, which he may choose to call a newsletter or not, and to make clear that it is an official, that he's doing this in his official capacity, but also that he is the author.
Second.
I second. No, third.
All right. All right. Mark's got a second.
I move to amend.
Mimi's got a motion to amend. What's your motion?
So this was to say that he's doing this in an unofficial way?
No, officially.
My
He's doing
motion-
it officially.
Okay.
Officially, but identified as his content.
Yeah, I'm afraid to crosstalk, but that works for me. I can't see where to raise
Okay,
your hand.
hold on, Pat. Hold on. So, Mimi, are you moving to amend that?
Well, let me hear the motion one more time because I didn't like the wording of it.
Okay. Joe?
To authorize the vice chair to put out a periodic email to our list as an official function of the party, as long as he makes clear that he is the author of it.
Okay, I take back my my thing. That actually does work.
Okay. June, your hand is up.
Yeah, I'm just a little concerned about how that gets expressed in print. I agree with the concept, but we're not talking about exactly the wording that's going to appear, and that could make a difference in how acceptable it is. So I would like to see a proposal for the masthead, I guess is what I'm saying, that would make it clear as to exactly what it was before I approve of something.
Well, I was saying the concept, and I'm assuming that he implements it in some way that is compatible with the concept. If he doesn't, then he's he's not authorized.
Yeah, but then we bring up a controversy again. That's what I'm worried about.
Well, I don't know.
I'd rather have the wording settled upon and say, yes, we agree this satisfies the intent of what we're all talking about before we just give a broad-based
You want the
authority.
motion to you want the motion to say that it shall have the following sentence at the top. This is an official communication of the Libertarian Party of California written by the vice chair. You want that in the motion?
Yes, yes. I mean,
Fine,
I'm
with
not
me.
sure that's the best thing, the way to put it, but that's what I'm saying is I'd like to see specific wording.
Okay.
So,
All right. I appreciate that. Mimi's got her hand up.
I was just going to say, if that's the case, then I'll move to amend this to say that it will say that this is officially coming from the Libertarian Party of California on behalf of the vice chair, Pat Wright.
That works, but I still can't figure out how to raise my hand.
Okay. So, all right. Well, Pat, let's go ahead.
Let's go ahead. Who?
Go ahead, Pat. We'll say
Well,
you've been
that
trying
works.
to
That's
raise your
fine.
hand.
I think we're all very reasonable, which is kind of surprising. I'm very grateful for everybody. You're all been wonderful. No, that works. I'll keep it on MailChimp for a while. Maybe we can bring this to a discussion at the execcom in the Hambley Hotel.
Okay.
But until
All
then,
right.
I'll just keep going as I am. But I will
All
change
right.
the wording, which I'm sure June will give me.
I love this plan, June. Give him the wording. All right.
Not off the
So,
top of my head. I'm not going to do that.
all
Well,
right.
it's late for me. I think
All
everybody
right.
else
Well,
is a night person, but
let's
I just
let's
gave the wording. I gave the wording.
I
What was
didn't
the
write it
wording?
down.
all right. So let's get the full motion
Well,
here.
hopefully Rebecca did.
Oh,
Let's
poor
get the full
Rebecca.
motion. Let's get the full motion here from Rebecca. Everybody chill out. Rebecca, can you please read this motion back to us?
Okay, I mean, I didn't combine it, but I'll read what I wrote.
No,
Joe,
All
this
right.
is an
Tell us what
amendment
you got.
first.
Yeah.
Real quickly, this is an
Yes.
amendment first, and then it goes to the main motion. So my amendment is all we're talking about right now.
All right.
Mimi
And
moved. I wrote Mimi moved to amend that it will say that this is officially coming from the Libertarian Party of California on behalf of Vice Chair Pat Wright.
Excellent.
okay. So that is the motion to amend Joe's motion. Is there a second for that motion?
Second.
Second from
Thank
Brandon. All right.
you.
You
Is
really
there
want
a
to say this is coming from, as opposed to like this is a communication of or something? That's why I didn't put wording in mine. I thought it was obvious what the idea was, and he could come up with the wording. But if you really want the wording and he's okay with it, I'm not
Well,
going
we
to
can
fight it.
change it. You know, we learn as we go along.
we try it for a month, we'll be meeting again. All right. So
Okay.
is there objection to this amendment? Okay. So we'll add that amendment to the main motion. Rebecca, can you give us the main motion, please?
Okay, let me just put it together. So I guess Joe moved with second to authorize the vice chair put out a periodic email to our list as an official function of the party, and that will say this is officially coming from the Libertarian Party of California on behalf of Vice Chair Pat Wright.
Excellent.
Okay. All right. So that is the motion that's on the floor. That's what we're about to vote on. June, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about that reference to periodic. It's rather non-specific. That could be, right now, his schedule is once a week, and I personally feel that's a little too frequent to have adequate review, but there's nothing in the current wording that stops him from putting out one every day. That's a period too. So I think maybe we need to be a bit more
Okay.
specific about how often he can put it out.
Hey, no more than once a week.
Excellent.
No
Good.
more frequently than once a week.
I'll
Excellent.
trust you, Pat, to not spam us, please.
Somebody trusts me.
And I think
There
that
goes
if
my
Pat,
reputation.
I think if Pat goes off on crazy spam, then we're meeting again in a month and we can tell him to knock it off.
That's what Facebook is for.
I think he's gotten enough fire from everybody, so I'm having faith in you, Pat.
I appreciate the love, and
Okay,
I want to thank
okay,
I
all
want
right.
to thank
All
Wesley
right, let's
for being accommodating.
All right. Thank you all for being accommodating. All right. So we are at a vote. So the motion is in the chat. It looks like Rebecca posted it in the chat right there. That's the motion. It has a second. Is there an objection to this motion? All right. So the Pat then can continue to put out his Be Libertarian. And don't we have a meeting on February 10th before the convention? Oh, maybe we do. Wow, the week of convention. That's crazy. All right, we'll talk about that here in a minute. All right, so that puts that piece to bed. Let's talk about, well, actually, you know what? Since we have, let me kind of take a straw poll here of the room. In theory, we have another executive committee meeting on February 10th before the convention. It's the second Tuesday. That's when we have been meeting. It is 10 minutes to 9, and we're about to launch into a program report, which Joe has substantial questions about, and which is probably going to take us a long time.
I'm getting a glass of wine.
Is there objection to just postponing the program report to the 10th of February? That will bring it in. We'll be able to have it done. It'll be done before convention. Am I missing something?
We could discuss these alternative wordings by email.
Sure. That'll also allow the program committee to meet and offer some revision, and take into account some of the concerns that Joe has raised. I know that's non-standard. I know that's non-standard, but the hour is late, and we need to have Joe talk about candidate recruitment and we need to appoint the credentials committee. So there's still business to do here. Before we do 30, 40 minutes on the program committee, shall we just postpone that to next month? Dave, you have your hand up.
Is there any requirement to put that out for the membership to read before the convention?
It is approved by the XCOM. Let's look.
No, there's none. It's approved
Yeah.
by the XCOM. Sorry, I
Right.
raised my hand, but I spoke anyway. No, it's up to the XCOM. It's not up to the membership. It's not up to anything else.
Okay.
I will actually make the motion to postpone this to our next meeting, which is unfortunately really close to the convention, which sucks, but I would make this motion.
All right. I'll second it because we're going to be here a long time already. So that being so, there's a motion and a second to postpone the program committee report approval until next month. June, you have your hand up. You're on mute. You're on mute, June.
I just lost my immediate train of thought. So forget about it for now. It wasn't relative to this vote. It was related. Oh, I know what it was. It was to ask, I can't remember, was the draft sent out to the discussion list or just to the XCOM? I think it should go to the discussion list.
I believe I sent it to the discussion list.
Okay, because their input is useful too. That's it.
All right. Mary Beth, your hand is up.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, I have to go. I'm sorry. So I'm just gonna, that's all I wanted to say.
Okay,
I was
that's
staying
fair.
for the program because I was on it, but I have to limit myself tonight. Thank you.
Totally reasonable. Thank you, Mary Beth.
Bye.
Yay!
All right. So there's a motion and a second to postpone the program approval until next month. Is there objection to that? Okay, we'll go ahead and postpone that to next month, and we'll move ahead. Joe, you wanted to talk about candidate recruitment for a
I'm
few
not
minutes.
proposing any debate or anything here. I'm just seeking information. I look through the sources that I've been trying to follow. I see maybe 4 people who might be interested enough to actually try to get on the ballot for Congress. I see at least 1 person who seems to be pretty serious about getting on the ballot for governor, and I see maybe 2 people who are interested in getting on for assembly, and that's it. So, and some of these people are going to fail to get on the ballot, and I think we're kind of missing an opportunity here. I've already said that. That's my speech. What I really want to know now is, does anybody here on this call know of people? If I'm making a list of the people who are running, can you help me with that? I mean, for Congress, there's me, there's Derek Michael Reed, there's Lars Mapstead, and then there's one other guy who was mentioned in the news, in the Be Libertarian. Does anybody know of anybody else who's trying to get on the ballot for Congress?
Joe Shea.
Yeah, that was it. Joe Shea. Okay. So that's it. So I got 4 people: Joe Dean, Derek Michael Reed, Lars Mapstead, and Joe Shea. Anybody else know of anybody else trying to get on the ballot for Congress? No. Okay. How about assembly?
Okay. Well, Mimi put her hand up and then took it back down. Mimi, did you have something?
I don't see any.
All I was going to say is that there's actually 3 for sure people running, I believe, for governor, possibly 4.
Yeah, and their names are
Nicholas Thompson
Tom
and
Woodard.
Tom Woodard.
Tom Woodard, Antonio Seguera, Nicholas
Thompson.
And possibly Andrew Cross, who I've reached out to.
Oh,
yeah, I have heard Andrew Cross, but I don't know how far along he is.
Say
on that.
Andrew or Andrea.
Andrew Cross.
Andrew. And only 2 of those people have actually filed papers, as far as I know, and that's Antonio Seguera, and
Nicholas.
Yeah. And I know that Tom Woodard is going to for sure file papers. Andrew Cross is the one I'm not positive on.
And the Nicholas, whatever, I forget his last name, he's the one who is trying to get everybody to do it send him petitions online.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
Just
print
like
them,
he's
print them
doing.
out and mail and send them in.
Which I haven't
Right.
done
And
yet.
he's been on our website for like, the last several months as being
And
He's
somebody that's
off. He's
running.
off.
And he's got a pretty impressive website. How about assembly or state senate?
All right. Well, before we get into that, June's got her hand up. June, you're on mute.
Go ahead and finish. Mine's sort of follow up to it.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Joe.
I want to know if anybody knows of anybody running for assembly.
You know, I've said this before. It's like I think the golden ticket for us is to find races where only the incumbent has filed and file writing candidates. And I'm keeping very close track of that. Cal Access, which has the most bizarre 1980-ish website, will give you a list of all the candidates.
That's a great thing to do in April. It's
Well,
not a thing. It's not what we do now, because you don't
Well, I
know
know,
until
but
April who hasn't filed.
That's my personal domain. We'll say that. People aren't filing. I mean, I don't have access to the website anymore, so I can't see who has filled out the form to run for office. But even when I had access, I would email them and they wouldn't email back.
Okay,
So
what you're missing here, Pat, is there are stages of this process.
I know.
Right now is the people who want to get on the ballot by circulating a petition. Okay, it doesn't do us any good to look at who has filed. We can't look at who hasn't filed. That's a different way to get on the November ballot, is to file as a write-in in a district that where there is only one candidate filed.
At this point,
that's
though,
what you do in April. Right now, we've got to get people to circulate.
Yeah, I know, because
right. And at this point, this is carrying us away from the crux of Joe's question, which is
right. So
who do we know who's running?
Who do you know who's running?
Does anybody else know something that's running?
Yo.
Okay. How about other statewide offices, lieutenant governor, treasurer? Anybody know of anybody seriously circulating a petition for that? Okay,
No.
then there's one more thing. Then in partisan office, Board of Equalization.
Oh my God. Well, what happened? Brendan, are you here? What happened to the San Diego chair? Brandon, are you here?
The San Diego
Gardner
chair,
Osborne.
Gardner Osborne.
He was going
The
to.
San Diego chair is running for governor, and the former
No.
San Diego chair.
Yes, but
you're talking about-
Gardner Osborne said he was going to run for BOE, and he never responded back to me because I was going to put it in the B and all that other crap. So.
Oh, actually, I think he was. So I apologize.
Which one of these guys is the former San Diego chair?
No, he's the current San Diego
one
chair.
is former, one is current. So I apologize, Pat. You're correct.
Earth to Brandon, come in, please.
It sounds like, Joe, you need to reach out to Gardner Osborne in San Diego County.
Because BOE, we will get double digits. We could even win.
But these other people, Nicholas Thomas, Antonio, and Andrew, none of those are a former San Diego chair.
No, Antonio is the former San Diego chair.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yes.
Good guy.
And Gardner is the current San Diego chair, which I believe is running, or at least said he was going to run for state board of
But I have not heard from him. I've called and emailed and texted.
Okay.
Nothing.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for this rundown. I will try to put this into an intelligible format, and people can offer.
I will again tip the hat to Brian Holtz, who is running to be king of the water board in his respective area. So thank you for that, Brian. Junior, have your hand up.
Yeah, the problem I see here is that we're supposed to endorse candidates at the upcoming convention, so we need to know that they're running. But some people are only going to decide to run if there's no competition, except from one major party candidate. I don't know how we resolve that. What do we do if people decide to jump in late because there's only one major party candidate in the race at that point? How do we endorse them some other way, some other time? I mean, my personal opinion is that as long as we've got to, it's almost useless to run anyone for anything except local offices. But that's a personal opinion. I know people have different opinions. But, I think we do need to consider the fact that there's sort of like two different processes here that are not in alignment with each other. So I'm asking for what do we do?
They're not in conflict with each other. You can do one now and you do the other later.
Mimi, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so if people are going to run as write-ins after the convention, when that comes along, the XCOM is the ones that endorse those. That is in our bylaws. So if we won't know those people until we get, to that point, which is after the convention. So that is not an issue.
Okay. So, Joe, you did not have an action item here. You just wanted
No,
to get that list.
my item is just to try to gather this information and encourage people to seek it out and report it. That's all.
Fair enough. Thank you. All right. Let's go ahead and move ahead to committee appointments. We have the Credentials Committee as a big one here. And then, of course, this is just kind of a catch-all, too, if there are any other committee appointments that anybody wants to deal with. So let's go ahead and open up nominations for the Credentials Committee. I know Francisco, a good while back, emailed and nominated Chris Gannier. Is that still legit, Francisco?
Yes, that is.
Okay. All right. Are there any other nominations, or what other nominations are there for the Credentials Committee? Rebecca, I presume you have a list.
Yeah, I've got two other names, Drew Shorkey and Jane Hyder.
Okay. Okay, and you have those written down. All right.
Yeah.
I should write them down too,
email
because
I sent everyone. I sent it to everyone.
can you repeat those just so that I'm making a note?
Yeah, Drew Shorkey and Jane Hyder.
Rebecca, if you need more help, I'm willing to help as long as I can still get to a microphone during discussion. So wherever you can use a flexible hand that's not full time, I'm willing to help.
Fair enough. Wes, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I'm willing to volunteer for the Credentials Committee. I've never done it before, but if you're willing to teach somebody, I'm willing to learn.
All right. So am I hearing you nominate yourself?
Can I do that?
He
I'm not a
can't.
member of this committee.
No, he can't. I
You're
will
right, he can't.
nominate Wes.
All right. Wesley is nominated.
And how many nominations is there now?
That brings us to a total of 4. Terry, you have your hand up.
Yes, I volunteered with Rebecca earlier.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
think
I nominate Terry. Sorry, Terry, I didn't know that based on your email, you didn't say that you wanted to volunteer. You just said that you would help check people in. I mean, I believe there's work to be done before. That's why.
There's lots of work to be done before.
Yeah.
Well, June said she was willing to help as long as she could get to a microphone. That sounds like doing work before.
I will also, if we need another person, I will nominate myself to be on the Credentials Committee so long as I don't have to be checking people in.
Okay. Well, right now we're sitting at 6 before you nominate yourself, Mimi, and that is Chris Gannier, Drew Shorkey, Jane Hyder, Wesley Martin, Terry Floyd, and June Jenness, as long as she doesn't have to check people in.
No, it's not as long as I don't have to check people in. It just means I can interrupt to go to a microphone. And Rebecca, could you tell us what you need done before the convention so we know how we could help you?
That'll be part of that'll be part of once you guys have your first meeting, but it's like doing the pre-con.
Yeah, the short form is double checking everybody who registers in the databases to make sure they're legit. It's literally credentialing people. So we got 5 names here plus June. Mimi, are you still throwing in?
Not if I don't need to, but if I need to, I will.
All right, we got 5 names here plus June, so just sort of be on deck just in case, I guess, Mimi.
Well, how many people are supposed to be on the committee? I thought it was 6 plus the secretary.
Yeah, I thought it was 7 as well.
Oh, 7 plus the secretary?
6 plus the secretary.
6 plus the secretary.
Oh, 6 plus secretary. All right. Well,
So you got 6 names.
We got 6 names. All right, we got 6 names here plus the secretary. Perfect. All right. So are there any other nominations, or shall I close nominations? All right, we'll close nominations. So I suspect that because we don't have any extras here, that we can just do this as a slate. So the Credentials Committee, the 6 are Chris Gannier, Drew Shorkey, Jane Hyder, Wesley Martin, Terry Floyd, and June Jenness.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. And then they would join Rebecca and form the Credentials Committee. So do we need to vote on this, or can we do this as a without objection deal?
Yep.
Which one? That was
We can do anything without objection.
We can do this without objection? All right.
Yeah.
So is there any objection to seating that list of 6 people with Rebecca on the Credentials Committee? All right. Hearing no objection. Congratulations, everybody. You are the Credentials Committee.
Hey.
We have filled it out.
Rebecca, do you know when you want the first meeting of this committee to be?
You know, I am not, according to the operations, the OPM, I'm not the chair of the Credentials Committee. But I will email everybody and we can agree on a meeting, and then during the meeting you guys will elect a chair.
Alrighty. Okay, so are there any other appointments to any other committee that we need to take up here? All right, hearing none, we have reached the magic moment.
Yay.
We will
I move
entertain.
to adjourn.
Mimi moves to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we have a second from, where did that come from?
Second,
Chair.
anywhere.
Second from anywhere. All right, and objection to adjournment? All right, we're adjourned at 9:06. Thank you all very much for your time and your attention tonight.
Thank
you.
you
And
so
I
much,
love the
Lauren.
fact that I get to do that now. Like when I used to be chair, I didn't get to do the motion to adjourn.
Oh,
I
okay,
want to do that every time.
It feels so good. All right.
See you guys next time.
Good night, everybody.
Bye,
Good night.
everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.